inventory up, and this week, as it's Halloween week, I thought, you know what? It's time to get the Halloween games out. And I've got an absolute treat for you, because obviously, what did we have last year? We had Evil Dead on the PS2. It was this one. Hold on. The Fistful of Boomstick on PlayStation 2. But I have another game. A game that's essentially the godfather of horror games. I'm sure just by saying that you're probably going to know exactly what game it is, or exactly what series it is. Here it is. It's Resident Evil 2 for Nintendo. I can't even bloody talk. For the Nintendo 64. I love this game. I think it's one of my absolute favourite horror games of all time. Why do I like it so much? I don't know. I mean, I started Resident Evil. I would have played on the PlayStation 1. As soon as I saw that, I was absolutely hooked. Just a mix of action, puzzle. A bit like the reason why I think a lot of people like games like Tomb Raider, because there's action, there's platforming, there's puzzles. But obviously this was absolutely terrifying back in the day. Like I said, this is the N64 version, so the version that is actually quite rare. Not many people have this, and for the lucky few that have, I absolutely cherish it, and I will never ever get rid of this game. It's Resident Evil 2 for the N64. Now, like I said, I do have this. Well, I do have this on other consoles. I've got it on the GameCube. Obviously, I will be getting it when it gets rehashed, or whatever you want to call it, on HD on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. But this, I don't know, there was something about this game. As soon as I saw it in the shop, I was like, I've got to have it. The difference with this version is the fact that it's not on discs, obviously, it's on cartridge, and Resident Evil was always on discs before that, so they've had to cram 2 discs worth into 1 cartridge. That is quite a feat, don't get me wrong. Now the game, you can use a rumble pack, which is quite cool. And then there's also the N64 expansion pack. Sadly, I don't have this, so the game won't look as good as it would with the expansion pack. With the expansion pack, crisper graphics, better colours, and a better experience. But the game itself still plays exactly the same. So let's take a look at the box, let's take a look at the art design, let's take a look at the leaflet, and then let's review Resident Evil 2 for all you guys and girls out there on the N64. So here it is. Let's take a look at the box. It's Resident Evil 2, N64. Can you survive the horror? Yeah, I actually can. It is a very, very hard game though. But just look at the graphics on the back there. A few nice little screenshots there. And then the front. Designed for N64 expansion pack, as I said before. Make sure you've got that, because it will play a lot better. Well, it will look a lot better and play a bit smoother, in all fairness. Let's get the old sleeve notes out. Whoa! That is terrifying. That is terrifying. So as we flick through here, obviously there's a notes page where you can write notes, funny enough, as well as just look exactly how to play the game. It's all you need, really. So let's get it out the box. There it is again. It's Resident Evil 2. I'm pretty damn excited about this. I am not going to lie. So here's the cartridge. That looks good. Let's pop it in. Smack it down. Turn it on. Here we go. Review commencing now. Now, before we actually get the review really flowing here, you're about to see a video, essentially. A video expressing what the game's about. You just don't see this on the N64, and now you do. It's absolutely amazing how they've crammed it all into a cartridge, like I've said. Let's take it on, and let's tell you a few more bits just before we start the main review. Now, one of the main differences you will actually see here is the fact that obviously once you've chosen your character, you get a choice of blood colour as well as violence level. Isn't that cool?
Resident Evil 2.
bizarre incident occurred in the outskirts of an American suburb called Raccoon City. It was later revealed that the terrible disaster had been caused by the T virus, a mutagenic toxin created by the international enterprise Umbrella Incorporated for use in bioweapon experiments. The Raccoon City Police Department's Special STARS unit immediately began investigation in the affair. The case was apparently closed, thanks to the efforts of STARS members Chris Redfield and Jill Valentine. But the Umbrella Corporation's experiments were far from finished.
What have we got here?
That guy's a maniac. Why'd he bite me?
What a mess! What could have done this? What was that? What are these things? All right, that's far enough. Don't move! Don't move! No! What's up with that guy? That was a clean hit. I'm running out of ammo here.
Wait! Don't shoot!
Get down! We can't stay out here. Head to the police station. It'll be a lot safer. There! Buckle up.
Okay. What's going on? I arrived in town, and the whole place went
Great. The
insane.
radio's out.
You're a cop, right?
Yeah, first day on the job. Great, huh? Name's Leon Kennedy. Nice to meet you.
Mine's Claire. Claire Redfield. I came to find my brother, Chris.
Hey, could you open the glove box?
Sure. There's a gun inside.
Better take it with you. You okay?
Still in one piece.
Maniac's gonna ram us! Run! Claire!
Leon!
I'm okay. Head to the station. I'll meet you there.
Okay.
So this is it. This is exactly where it all starts. Now you got to feel sorry for Leon and Claire, being that it's Leon's first day on the job. Now if that was my first day on the job, I would quit and run a fucking mile. So if you're not entirely familiar with the games, they're basically based, well, they're not basically based around, they are based around something called the T-virus. Now the T-virus essentially is, it's a virus, and it turns the living, or it turns the dead into the living. So as soon as you're dead, you come back to life. Now isn't that cool? It's also really good at mutating things. So if you know what a liquor is,
What are you doing here?
you're going to see exactly what I'm talking about. And even a little bit later on in this review, there's something called... Well, actually, I don't even know what it is called. Anyway, let's just enjoy this bit, shall we?
Sorry about that. I thought you were one of them.
What's going on in this town?
Hold on. I don't have a clue. By the time I noticed something was wrong, the entire city was infested with zombies.
That was cool, wasn't it? It really was. And I gotta say, it really does... The music in this game plays a massive part in the fact that it really just sets the tone for you. And it's pretty terrifying. Well, and things like you've just seen. It's not for the little guys, aka the children. Actually, when I think about it, I was a child when I played this. But anyway, that doesn't matter. So another, that's not even a thing. So another reason that this is slightly different to, let's just say, Resident Evil 1. First of all, I'd say I think the zombies are a little bit... They look better. Let's put it that way. They actually look better. The design, the model design. Whereas the original Resident Evil 1, they were quite... I don't know, they just didn't look as detailed. But then again, I believe the original one was released in 1995 or 1996, whereas the PlayStation version, the PlayStation 1 version, for example, was released in 1999. And then the N64 version, even later than that, in February 2000. One thing you're probably going to be a little bit surprised to hear is the actual producer of the game, Shinji Mikami. I think that's how you pronounce his name. If it's not, please tell me. His first games were games like Aladdin on the Super Nintendo. Now, you wouldn't have thought that when you look at a game like this. Now, Resident Evil originally started development in 1993. He basically went to Nintendo and said, you know what? I want to make a horror game set around a mansion. Basically, originally conceived as a remake of a game called Sweet Home, which essentially was a game, well, it was a game on the Famicom. It was a Japanese game. And basically, it took place around a mansion.
Oh, you must be the new guy, Leon. Sorry, but it looks like your party has been cancelled. What happened? About 2 months ago, there was this incident.
Now, the director of the game, aka Hideki Kamiya, now, again, if I'm not getting this right, please say in the comments, is probably most famous before this of coming out of a game called Nuts and Milk.
Umbrella.
Now, I'm pretty sure most people have no clue what on earth Nuts and Milk is, but it is another game for the Famicom. Famicom? Again, not a thing, for the Famicom. So, yeah, he did nearly not have a great, well, a great past before he came along with the producer and created what we all know as Resident Evil. Now, this is Resident Evil 2, like I said, for the N64, and this obviously came out in early 2000.
Dear,
Now, the game obviously focuses around Leon and Claire,
should be able to unlock the
as
doors in the hall
essentially
with this.
it is their first day on the
Now
job,
go.
and they seem to just come across a whole
Right.
heap of shit. Now,
Just
they
go.
do actually cross paths along this game, and you will find a lot
Fine.
of other characters
But I'm
in
coming
this
back
game,
for you. Just
be it
hold on.
Sherry, and eventually a guy called William Burke. Now, you'll see this later on in the game. He's an absolute crazy lunatic. But then what kind of game would this be if it didn't have a crazy lunatic in it? Now, you probably won't be surprised to hear the game is an action puzzle solving game. Yeah, it's a third person action puzzle solving game. So along the way, you have to find different keys, different ways of opening doors, and along the way also coming across a shit ton of badass people. Using any weapons you can. Now you have to be very careful with your ammo. You really have to plan it out. So if you haven't played the game, I'd make sure to use the saves around and hoard as much ammo as you can for towards the end of the game, because it is hard and you do have to start using grenades. You really, really do. Along the way, also, you'll have to make sure you pick up tons of different anti-poison herbs, or herbs in general, to combine to obviously make health canisters, for example. Because, let's face it, you're going to get hurt. It's not an easy game, it's a hard game, and there's a lot of different things out there to kill you. There's also a couple hidden gems in this game. You will obviously see this later on. It's a game called Survivor, but we'll come to that when it comes up. Now, you got to say, just visually, looking at the set design, that's one of, going back to what I said earlier, it's one of the things that really creates the atmosphere, as well as the great voice acting from obviously the people who play people like Claire and Leon, as well as a great story.
Claire, you made
It's a great story.
Yeah.
There's a lot of intrigue. There's a
Have
lot
you
of,
seen a
oh
little
my
girl
god,
around
what
here?
the hell just happened? As well as many other things.
Who
And obviously a lot of, there's also actually a bit of comedy relief every now and again.
But it's too dangerous for her to stay here alone. Leon, I'll go look for her. You go and find us a way out of here.
Of course. But before I forget, here's a radio. That way we can keep in touch if something...
And something obviously does happen. Now, if you're going to pick up the N64 version, which I would advise you to do, I'd obviously make sure you've got the expansion pack. I don't have that. Now, that's one thing I really wish I did have. Because the game would, although it is pretty smooth anyway, would play slightly smoother and also look better. So the textures would actually look better, more on par with the actual PS1 version. Now, the PS1 version obviously is set over 2 discs, bearing in mind a disc generally holds about 600 to 700 meg, whereas the cartridge, I believe, only is about 500 meg. Now, I'm not 100% sure if that's right, but I'm pretty sure that's the way it is. So the way they've compressed everything to fit onto this cartridge, fair play. Now what you can see here, this is the game I was talking about. This is called Survivor, and you literally have a few minutes to be able to survive. And you play a piece of tofu. Now you don't need to know anything more about this game, apart from you have to get a cheat code to get it, I believe, or you have to complete the game in a certain way. You don't need to know anything more about this game. Now, the difference I found with the control setup compared to PlayStation 1 was slightly different, to be in all fairness. It's quite hard to get used to. Now, you want to change it ideally to Type B, I believe, instead of Type A, because Type A you actually use the N64 stick to control your character, which is really, really hard and threw me off straight away. So what you want to do is make sure you're using the D-pad and the buttons. Use the D-pad, it's the best way to play it. Would I advise getting it now? 100%. Although it does cost a hell of a lot of money nowadays, and I mean over £50. That may not sound a lot to you, but being that this game is, 16 years old, it probably should have decreased in value by now. Now, obviously, they are doing an HD version of this, an HD remake, currently, so it will be out, I believe, sometime in 2017, I believe. So I'm looking forward to that. As soon as it does come out, there will be a review of that straight on this channel, Games Ria. Make sure to like and subscribe, so I'll be doing more reviews as soon as I can. Just give it a like, that's all you need to do, just to spread the word. Just literally press that thumbs up. Have a great Halloween, everybody, and thanks for joining me. I'll see you all very, very soon. Bye!